Welcome to the More Life, Less Drama podcast. This is episode 69. And today I have a special guest for you. We are speaking to Emma Walkinshaw. And look, before you're like, hey Prue, I thought we were going to get a rundown of your brand and what's going on there, why you've changed, all the details about that. It's actually going to be next week because life is lifing and everything is not ready yet. My website's not ready. My stuff is just not ready. So instead, I recorded this beautiful episode with Emma, and you're going to get that in your ears this week. So Emma is a beautiful woman that I met at a network event. It was a gorgeous lunch. It's hardly even a network event, but it was, designed to bring all gorgeous women together who are in business and just want to meet and create connections. It's a beautiful space. And I met Emma there. So I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to say that you're going to enjoy this episode. Emma has a real true passion for guiding women to elevate their self-awareness, just as I do. We both love building self-confidence. And if you remember way back when I first started my coaching business, I was helping people lose weight and using mindset tools to do that. And Emma is also about challenging the toxic diet culture out in the world. And look, we are definitely divinely connected for this. And so please enjoy this gorgeous episode, take some wisdom away, and also go and join her free Facebook group and grab a copy of her book, which we'll talk about in the episode. Okay, lovely. Enjoy. Hey, here we have the lovely Emma Walkinshaw. How are you? And welcome to the More Life, Less Drama podcast.
I'm great. Thanks, Prue. Delighted to be here and have a chat with you today. Very great.
It's going to be so nice. I'm sitting here with your book that you sent me. I was so very grateful for that. So thank you very much. I've been flicking through it and thinking to myself, this is a great book. And for everybody that's listening, Emma has written a book. It's called 365 Days of Morning Magic. So the whole year, and you go through it and it just gives you something now, which gives you a little reminder about something, then a little meditation and a mantra, which I love because I'm all about intentional thinking, and then a flowetry prompt. Oh, I love that term. Tell me about that term.
Yes, well, I say a flowetry prompt.
Flowetry prompt, thank you.
So I said I could call it journaling, but I'm a little bit of a romantic, so I call it flowetry. And the idea too is to try and be in a stream of flow, so your pen doesn't come off the paper. And I don't know if you know much about journaling, but they do say that we cannot write as fast as we think. So when you're in a little flow and you're writing, it really slows the thoughts down. So I say we get into a little bit of a flow.
I love it. I love that. So people can get your book, which is great. And I'm going to have all the links and everything in the show notes so people can connect with you and get hold of the book and all the lovely things that you do as well. And so tell me, we've just met. Okay, we don't know each other that well. And so I'm going to use this purely as a selfish, podcast to get to know you a little bit more, because just as a backstory, we met about a month ago, just once, at a beautiful event that was hosted on the Gold Coast called the Brunch Club. We're both there for the very first time, and then we sort of just bumped into each other through, mutual friends milling around. And then we started talking and we're like, we've got a podcast and I've got a podcast. Oh my God, this and that. And then we started talking about body image and how you love to help women overcome the negativity about their bodies and things like that. And I've been listening to your podcast, and it's a very strong theme throughout your podcast as well. So tell me, I want to get to know you. So why is this an important topic for you?
I feel, Prue, that my eyes were opened up when I decided to become a yoga teacher. So at the ripe old age of 40, I studied to be a yoga teacher. I'm now 48. I'd had a really strong practice of yoga and a love of yoga for a good probably 10 years before that, in my 30s. And then I decided that I was already a coach and already running workshops for women and had a real passion around personal development. So originally I was a hairdresser And I always say that's where I really became a life coach.
Yeah.
But then I studied to be a life coach. And then I went
Mm-hmm.
on and worked with long-term unemployed people.
Mm-hmm.
And then that came to a point after 5 years that I thought, I'm going to work with my husband in our business, but I'm going to study to be a yoga teacher.
Okay.
And becoming a yoga teacher was not, I had no intention to teach. I thought I'm just going to build on my personal development. And I knew that from my own experience of yoga, it's great to have coaching for women and talk about personal development, but I also know movement in the body and being able to calm your nervous system is a really great component to coaching as well. And that was through my own experience of being coached myself and having yoga in my life. So when I came to the decision to become a yoga teacher, I was a size 14, and it became really apparent to me my block around the decision, even though I still went ahead and did it, the block I had around the decision of becoming a yoga teacher with all of that, the old stories come up, which is really, you don't really have a yoga body, you're a size 14, and the trepidation to actually go and study to be a yoga teacher, even though I wasn't going to teach. So through some lovely, coaching and support from another coach, I decided to go ahead and become a yoga teacher. And when I started my yoga teacher training, it really is quite astounding, the body. You can be in a bigger body and be more flexible than someone in a smaller body. Someone in a smaller body can do something a bigger body that can't do. So it was very apparent to me that, yes, body size is a thing, but it's often doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. So during this yoga teacher training, what evolved was my beautiful teacher who taught me the 200-hour yoga study. She'd said to me, "Are you going to teach for me?" Because she had a studio, and I said, "No, this is just for me." Anyway, the long, the short of it is, after her asking me lots of times, I finished my study. And then, I think it was a week later, one of her teachers didn't show up, and she rang me and said, "Would you go and teach for me?" And I said, "Yes." And then it began.
There you go.
But I feel like the practice of yoga and body image really started the awakening around the toxic diet culture, unhooking from really unrealistic beauty standards, and seeing that women often would not turn up to a gym, a yoga session, a Pilates session, because they thought that they were too big, too this, too that, too whatever. And it really became apparent to me that we have been so ingrained from very young ages about our bodies just not being good enough.
Yeah. It sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really sucks. It makes me so sad to think of, like, just a personal note, how much time I wasted worrying about this thing. Like, seriously.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Prue. The time wasted and the energy and the brain space it takes up when we've really been sold a big lie. We've been told and sold a big fat lie.
Yeah. Yeah. Big fat lie. Exactly. It's so true. Yeah. I remember when I had my son, so he's my second child, and I think back on it now, I actually think I'm heavier, like on the scales, than I am now than I ever was when I was pregnant, which tells you how small I was. And I remember after having Oscar, I was breastfeeding, as you do, and I was just so strung out about the size of my body. I was like, God, I need to get back, I need to get back into my clothes, and I need to feel better. I need to get skinny again, all this sort of rubbish going through my head, which was, a big part of my life since a teenager. And so I was, 30, I think, when I had Oscar. And I had a bit of a wake-up call when I was breastfeeding. I was on a shake diet, like, seriously, the ridiculousness of it. Shake diet. And I was standing in the kitchen and I heard Oscar cry out, and I went to move, and I was so lightheaded and weak and like just about toppled over in the kitchen. And I remember thinking to myself, this is ridiculous. What is going on? It didn't make me change straight away. Like, it took me another 10 years before I could do anything about it. Didn't know anything about, self-development or anything really. But that's something that sticks in my mind as like a moment of, I know how ridiculous this is, and I feel I have to be skinny. Well,
Yes.
skinnier, and I just
Yes.
think, and unfortunately, I talk about to my girls a lot about this. I've got a 21-year-old girl and a 14-year-old girl as well, either side of Oscar, and I definitely have passed on some of my like negative body image traits to my girls, and very regretful of that, and to know that I was only doing the best I can, in those moments, but am working now to undo that within them. And it's really interesting that you talk about the yoga, and you're like, in your mind, you didn't really even know it, but you're like, oh, my body is not a yoga body, it's not the norm. My daughter, who's 21, she's just got into Pilates. And I was like, why don't you do like Pilates training and do it? But she literally said that out loud. Oh, Mum, all the girls that do Pilates are all like model sizes and they've got the perfect bodies. And so we had a long conversation about that. And so she did start to pursue it, which is good. And she's just noticing, immediately now, and with the help of me, how, her brain goes there. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's not right. Like, how can we undo this? And I listened to a podcast of yours last night driving home from an event, and you were asking the question, what is a normal woman's body to you? And it's like so subjective, but it's one that I would love to ask all our listeners here today. Like, if you are listening, like, ask yourself, what is a normal woman's body? Is that the question exactly, or did I get that right?
You're absolutely right, Prue. That's the question I ask, and it is subjective.
Yes.
And
and it should be.
And it's just such a curious one to explore, where this idea came from. Is it yours? Is it society's? Is it your family's? And even that, like, what is a normal? It's a great question to ponder. And there's been some great studies. I love even the study that Dove does a lot around this too, which I gave some statistics in the podcast. But it is a really great question to ask yourself. And exactly, if we've got girls, for any of our, our listeners, if you've got girls, even asking them that, what is a normal woman's body?
It's such a good question. Because if you look at it, there's no such thing. And so therefore, if you're thinking and striving for something that doesn't even exist, it sort of brings you back to like, like, why am I doing that? Like, what's going on? What else is underlying that, I'm striving to get to somewhere that doesn't even exist?
And there's many versions of the woman's body. You gave an example. You were the breastfeeding woman's body once. You were the pregnant woman's body once.
Exactly.
Now you're the mother of a 21-year-old. There's many versions of what is a normal woman's body. And every single time, at every single stage, you are a normal woman.
Oh, hallelujah. Isn't that nice to hear? I hope everyone else is having this moment of like feeling calm like I do, that it's okay at every stage, like exactly how we are today, it's meant to be.
That's a normal woman's body.
That's awesome. It was a great podcast. It was one of your solo podcast episodes, and I'll link that too. So, because it's only a quick one, and it was nice to just as that little reminder.
On those days where, our inner critic or our itty bitty shitty committees going to town on us, is to go, hang on a moment. It's okay. You are normal. You've got the wobbles today, and that's okay. Something's come up. And it's okay to have the wobbles and to judge and to question ourselves, but there's got to be a point where we call BS on this story, like we say, that we've been told and sold, that is, we've seen one woman for too long, one kind and shape and height of a woman, and authenticity and skin color and hair color. We've seen that one woman for too long.
Yes, we certainly have.
Inclusivity, diversity, all shapes, sizes, colors is what we need to be seeing more of.
Yeah, that's it. Absolutely. And back to that confidence piece, like that women can be confident in bigger bodies, and they can be flexible and more flexible than somebody in a smaller body. It's this weird, thought that goes through people's minds of like, and we put people in boxes.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I remember like my sister was always so, she was just always so fun and vivacious, and well, she is so fun and vivacious, not past tense, but and she was always bigger. I was always this scrappy little thing, and she was always bigger, and it was such a vice for her. But man, she could dance. That, you know, or she can dance, like, you know, she just like goes to town on the dance floor, and she like mesmerizing for people that watch her and in her presence. Like, it's amazing. I just wish we could go back as, you know, kids now and like tell each other we're fucking amazing, like as we are, like both of us, you know. Yeah,
because that's a good
we just don't
point.
get told that enough.
No, we don't. And that's a good point, Prue. When you think about your sister, and maybe she's in a bigger body or whatever her body is, it's different to yours. But when she dances, she can move and she's mesmerizing, because that's the essence, isn't it? That's what we emanate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's it. Man, if I went to a million dance classes, there's no way I'm going to be so much like her. Like, I'd always be like the person doing the side clap and the foot tap, you know?
And maybe you can do the nut bush from time to time if you can remember the steps.
Yeah, but she just had it, you know. She's just like carves up the dance floor, and it was good. It was good to watch. And to think back on it now. And even a friend, we went to a little mini retreat on Sunday, and on the way back, we were just talking about things, because we did a bit of movement and, you know, some journaling and some like hot and cold therapy stuff. It was so lovely. Like, everybody needs to do that. And we were talking on the way back, and she said, because she wants to lose weight, which it's totally okay to like want to be like lose weight and look after your health and all that sort of stuff. And she was like, yeah, but I've got this thing in my head, when you're skinny, you're not as strong. Like, so she's like, I think that holds me back. I'm like, yeah, interesting. Like, it's interesting that what you think, you put yourself into some sort of box. Yeah. And no matter what it is, it's all made up. It's all made up.
Yes. Yeah. And isn't that funny that she associates a leaner body with being not so strong, a bigger body? It's all of these preconceived conceptions that we have, and we often think it's this or that when we can have this and that. Yes. But we think it has to be one or the other, when we can have it all. Crazy. And I think too, it is okay to still have a desire to want to be in a smaller body. I think that is, you know, I wane and wax with that all the time. You know, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm okay today where I'm at. And then other times I go, no, I actually have to sit in the fact that I have a desire to be in a smaller body. But I am not going to deprive, starve, or do something crazy because it doesn't work. And I do not need to be punished either. I do not need to punish myself.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah, and I'm sure you do a lot of work with women around that you know, the toxic diet culture that's out there, and the real restriction, and there's good food and bad food, and if you eat this, you're bad, and eat this, you're good. You know, it's just epic. Yeah, people. Yeah, it's just going to town out there of extremes. All the rules. Yeah.
Yes, the rules and the extremes. And you know, there's a really fantastic book called The Diet-Free Revolution by Alex Carson, a great read. And there was a real light bulb moment for me in this. And she was saying, often when a diet is prescribed, and even the example of the shake diet, if you're to follow that, verbatim, follow that. Yeah. They're actually wanting the diet they prescribe, they're actually wanting you to act like a person who has disordered eating.
Yeah.
So the traits they're wanting you to take on, which is the counting, the measuring, the depriving, the restriction, the timing, the absolute fixation, the no choice, not choosing if you feel like being nourished. You know, sometimes we wake up and we want eggs on toast. Other days we wake up and we want porridge. Some days we don't want anything. Yeah. But when you're being prescribed a shake or a diet, or we can call it anything, prescribe these diets, it's wanting you to act like you have disordered eating. And then we get to 3 days into the diet and say to ourselves, I'm a failure. No, you're not. You just don't have disordered eating right now.
Yeah, that's right. This is not for you.
No, it's not you. It's the diet. Yeah. You're good. You're all good. You just couldn't handle being starved, deprived, and undernourished.
Yeah, I know. I'm all about that. I love the Diary of a CEO podcast.
Yes.
Stephen Bartlett. and he was talking to, look, I'm not even going to warrant a guess at the doctor's name. She's an orthopedic surgeon. And she was talking about, because she's in her 50s, and she was saying, I'm in the best shape of my life. And, I finally figured out that it's not about body size or body weight. It's about body composition. And I was like, oh, that is so good. I wrote that down and I've stuck it on a Post-it note. I'm like, Prue, it's not about body size, body weight. It's about body composition, which means, your muscle, in relation to everything else as well. It's not just about fat and, the size of you and what's on the scale. And I'm like, that's nice. That's good. I'm going to hold on to that one.
Yeah, and that's longevity. Yeah. And I'm going to say it, Prue, Ozempic, the magic drug at the moment, it is taking women's muscle mass at a rate of 6%, which is very alarming because right now for me in midlife, I'm 48. If I was to do that, I finish my Ozempic, let's say I chose that path. I then, to try and get back that muscle mass to get my metabolism working, you are literally messing with your thermostat. And at this age of the game as a midlife woman, I am not willing to compromise my thermostat. And exactly, if we talk body composition, whatever you want to call it, that is what you are compromising. And that's a long road back to get that muscle mass back.
Yes, it is. Oh, so, that's a great way of putting it. I like it. Yeah, because it is. It's, like building muscle is great for your heart health, your bone health, and your brain health. That's the whole idea about it.
Yes. Being strong, having energy, having vitality, being able to do all the things, like we say, maybe being a bigger body in a yoga class, but you are flexible and running at a really great pace in your life, being able to do all the things because you've got that little engine motoring along nicely. Even if the scales don't look how you want, you are still healthy at whatever size you're at. And that's more what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. We've all heard the term, like skinny fat.
Yeah.
And that's, so skinny doesn't always necessarily mean healthy.
It doesn't. No, that's it. Skinny fat. There's a great comedy sketch on that makes me laugh. Yeah. But this is it.
Yeah, exactly. So I know my friend who I was saying that we had a conversation in the car on the way back. If she's listening to this, like, she's strong and she's, got great muscle tone and all that sort of stuff. So she's basically got great body composition, maybe there's stuff that she still wants to improve. That's fine. But, she's strong and I admire that, which is really great. Got me back to the gym.
And see, that's vitality, that's energy, and that's being able to have longevity.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it's all about to me. I always say I'm going to live till I'm 100, and I don't want to be just, rotting away in a bed or in a rocking chair. I want to be still part of my life. So that's all part of it. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So in my coaching practice, I've done lots of things. I said to you when I first met you that I used to help people, with body, like fat loss and everything like that, and like helping people. And it was ditching the diet mentality. I actually had a webinar called Ditch the Diet. I should really revive it because it was a good one. It was a positive one. Yeah.
I'll come.
Yeah. And so, I've done lots of things like that and, morphed and, tried different things out over the last 4 years. And I've sort of landed on helping people achieve their goals. Like, haven't got it's not a weight loss goal or it's not a business goal or anything. It's just goals. And I think there's an important step a lot of people miss when they're achieving goals is that they have a great vision for something big, but yet they don't actually know how to achieve just a small goal first. And so what is something that you do for yourself to achieve your goals? Because, I'm pretty sure you're quite successful in your business and you've been running for a long time. I think you got certified as a coach back in 2013, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
And so you've been in business for a long time. And so kudos to you because, a lot of businesses don't last that long.
Yeah.
So what is your trick not trick, but, your consistent action, I suppose, that you do to meet and achieve your goals?
You just said the word consistent. So it's, and the other part for me is committed and consistent.
Yeah.
So making a decision. So even if I give the example of the book, Prue,
Yeah.
you know, that how the book came to, I'm actually quite the most unlikely author. Like I was never the person that said, I'm going to write a book. Like I just never. In a lot of ways, the book wrote me. And I'll tell you about the committed and consistent bit. So I choose a word, or I like to say a feeling for the year. So a couple of years ago, I landed on committed and consistent too. And my keys aren't here, but I always it's actually, you know, the little dog tag that you get for your dog and you get their name on it. I go to my pet store, you can engrave yourself, and I put it on my key ring, my word for the year.
Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah.
Yes. So this year it's in body. But anyway, so committed and consistent is on my key ring all year. And I only choose 3 things to achieve.
Oh, yeah.
So I just go 3 things.
Yeah.
3 things.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And usually I will sometimes achieve those 3 things in the first 6 months, but I do not overcrowd things, just 3 things. So in terms of the book, I said, I'm going to write this book. So how the book even come about and being committed and consistent to this, 365 Days of Morning Magic has a Facebook group connected to it. You'll have to join, Prue.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've
absolutely.
seen that,
I will. Yeah.
So I owned a yoga studio for 4 years. So the other part of becoming a yoga teacher at the ripe old age of 40 and saying, no, I'm not going to be a yoga teacher, and then becoming a yoga teacher and then opening a yoga and reformer Pilates studio. Crazy. And ran that for 4 years. I only just sold it last year.
Wow.
So that was how that whole yoga thing went. But
Yeah.
during me owning the yoga studio, so a couple of years ago, I was leaving the yoga studio at it was like 7:30 in the morning. I'd already taught 2 yoga classes, and I had the thought, which is so funny, you always teach what you need to learn, right? So I'm leaving the yoga studio and I think to myself, oh my goodness, I really need a morning practice. I've just taught 2 classes of yoga, but teaching yoga and receiving yoga is very different.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, what if I had a morning practice? Because I found I'd got into this bad habit. So about being committed and consistent, I had no commitment and no consistency around my morning. I would wake up in the morning checking emails, making sure, checking people had gotten to the studio, the teacher had turned up, and starting my day with a lot of stress. Like, boom, I was up on, nervous system blown out. So I thought to myself, what if I could have a morning practice that was quick? However, I had a time to tune into my intuition and know what I need to do, because I felt like I was waking up in the day and the day was having its way with me. Like I was straight into emails, social media, checking the sales for the studio. I was quite frazzled. So I thought to myself, it takes 21 days to change a habit. I thought, what if I could have a morning practice in 21 minutes? So I started to create a little theme. And I thought the other part of being committed and consistent is accountability. So I thought, I know that I can commit. I know that I can be consistent, but I need accountability. So I thought I'm going to start a Facebook group. And because I had the studio, I thought I'll just start a Facebook group in the morning that the ladies don't go to the studio. 3 mornings a week, we'll wake up at 6 a.m. We'll do 7 minutes of yoga, 7 minutes of meditation, and 7 minutes of flowetry, journaling. So there's your 21 minutes.
Lovely.
So I knew that if I was to wake in the morning, get out of bed and step straight onto my mat and try and meditate, I'm sleepy. And I know yoga ignites our energy system. So I thought if I wake up in the morning, I step onto the mat, I do 7 minutes of yoga, 7 minutes of meditation, and then 7 minutes of flowetry with a journal prompt, because we know journaling's so wonderful for us. However, how many times do we go to journal and go, I don't know what to write about? Like get stuck. So I started this group, this Facebook group called 21 Minutes of Morning Magic. And then I would need to prepare a theme for the night before for the next morning. So when I woke up, I could know what the flowetry prompt was, know what our mantra was, and know what the theme was for the day. And like yoga, I would always set an intention for the practice, you know, whatever it be. So I started, and after a year, I had many themes on a Word document, and I thought, I think this could be a book.
Yes.
So the committed and consistent, then I said, okay, I'm going to turn this into a book.
Mm-hmm.
Prue, there's one thing writing a theme for 365 days. I was able to do that, but then I had to be really committed to and consistent to actually finding out how you get a book published, how you get out in the world.
Yeah, it's not hard. I mean, not easy, sorry. It's a hard
and when
task. Yeah.
and when you don't know, when you've
No,
never done
that's
it
right.
before, you're
Yeah.
learning. So anyway, I did it. So within a year, 14 months, this book
Yeah.
has come out.
So good.
However, I attribute it to the word for the year, or two
Yeah.
words for the year. I am committed and consistent.
I love it. It's literally what I posted on my story this morning. I saw a quote from Denzel Washington, I think it was,
Yeah.
on Instagram, and I just reposted it. And it was literally that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third step is definitely accountability, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with the book, I was committed and consistent to creating a theme and bringing this book out. But then the accountability, because I'd already said it and I was meeting all the women in a group in circle 3 mornings a week.
Yeah.
I thought, I've said it, I have to do it now. And they held me accountable.
They held you up. Yeah.
Yeah. And when's the book coming, Emma? When's the book coming? So that kept me going. And also, in the year of the book, not, like I said, not overcrowding with too many tasks. I feel like if you have too many things, too many goals, I don't know, you teach this goal stuff really well, Prue. But I think if I have too many goals, nothing happens.
No, you're exactly right. You're nailing it on the head. I think it's essentialism.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's taken me a while to work that out, though, that I can only do 3.
Yeah. No, and in all honesty, I haven't gotten that refined, I don't think, but this is inspiring me. Yeah. I'm about to actually rewrite some goals that, just have changed and I need to review them. And so it's on my list that I want to do this week. And so I'm going to keep that in mind because, the key is consistency, like commitment and consistency. And also for me, like that, a missing step is choosing goals that are actually yours.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's one of the first things I do in my program, the Finishers Club, is let's have a look at what you've already achieved.
Yeah.
And like understand what already lights you up and what already you are naturally drawn to. And, because so many people have, I'm just going to use an example of so many people have like objects that they want to purchase or whatever, or even, objects. And they're like, okay, I really want this. I really want a nice handbag. I want to buy a house or whatever. But when they look at back of all the things that they've already achieved and they're proud of, none of them are objects, like things. And they're like, why am I using a thing to be the driver for like achieving this goal? And that's why it always falls off, because it's not particularly theirs. They might have seen around the world that you should want this or should do this or should do it a certain way or have these experiences. Not everything is for everybody. And so you really have to tap in and figure out what it is for you. And for me personally, it's accomplishments, like seeing, and it's just for personal achievement. It's not for putting it out there and saying, hey, I did this and I did that. Like, and I do share the things that I have achieved, but it's more for me. Like I say that the feeling of proud is such an underutilized feeling to go after. Yeah. And so for me, that is the big thing that keeps coming up. It's what gets me out of bed to go to the gym every morning. I'm like, I'll be proud of myself after I get to the gym again and tick off another week of consistency. And I bloody well am. I'm like, somebody that hasn't consistently gone to the gym for a very long time, I'm like, wow, like 10 weeks in and I'm like going strong. It's great. So proud of myself. Yeah.
I would agree. Pride is a beautiful thing. And even this book, like that gym experience, the Pride Just For You, the biggest thing was when people going, oh my God, you finished the book. And I said, and the biggest thing for me was I said I would and I did. I said I would and I did. And, every day when I finish yoga, I put my hands to my lips and I say, in our circle, I say, today I'm impeccable with my word. I say what I mean, I mean what I say. And I think about it, like you going to the gym, like me, finishing this book and all the other things that our listeners do. It's being able to actually at the end of the day say, I said I would and I did. I was impeccable with my word. For
God,
me, that's a big
yeah,
one.
me too, which is why one of my things this year is really getting great at managing my calendar. Like, it's one of the things this year that I am nailing, and I'm doing it really well. Like, I'm showing up and getting stuff done so much more. And for people listening that thinking, yeah, I've tried it and I just can't be consistent with anything, you know, I just want to share that it changes sometimes. So I've been doing my podcast for 67 episodes now. So that's, 67 weeks, consistently. So that's a fairly
Over a
good
year.
chunk of time. Over a year. And it takes, as you know, it takes time to, create podcasts and to edit them and get them out into the world. And but that's this year. Leading up to that, I've tried other things that haven't worked out. I tried a morning, what was it called? Eternally optimistic little session that I used to host on Facebook. And I had a few people coming in and, was like practicing speaking and doing all the things. And it didn't really pan out the way that I thought. And I could have been really disappointed and stopped everything. But instead, that's when my friend Tanya from the Wholehearted podcast, she came in and said, hey, what about we do it together? Like, we make a group and do something together, the three of us. So there was Donna Lee and Tanya and myself. And we're like, okay, we'll just take over the Eternally Optimistic, Facebook group, and we'll go from there. And so, I think I had like 150 people or something in that group. And so we just repurposed it. And then we did that for, I'm just trying to think how many weeks, a lot of weeks.
Yeah.
60 something, maybe even 70. I can't remember now.
Yes.
So we did that for a little while, and that sort of got iterated a few times too, like to be different. And so it wasn't just like, this is not working, just going to throw it all out the window. And then once we got going with that, it sort of came to its close. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing my own podcast. And then that's flowed onto that. And that has stuck.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's not sometimes the first thing. People see people's success and things and think, oh, they just got it, nailed it first time. And I bet you could tell me some stories of all the things that you've tried and it hasn't launched or failure to launch, all this
My
sort of
favorite saying is, you can't steer a parked car. You have to get going.
Yes.
Like, you actually do. And exactly like you've said, the evolution of that pathway. And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to, and even about being committed and consistent. You can change your mind within that committed and consistent. But like you said before, as long as you're showing up and I guess you're staying true and you're exploring to feel that alignment, it is okay to change your mind.
Yeah, it is. Like, I always hear Mel Robbins' words in my head. And it was one of her early podcasts, because she was one of the people that got me into life coaching originally. Didn't really know that even she was a life coach. I just used to listen to these coffee chats she used to have on YouTube back in the day when I was having, a moment. And it just was really great. And I remember her saying once, even if you're packed up, leaving town, you've got all your furniture in the back of a truck, and you're driving out of town, you get halfway to where you're going and you decide, actually, I don't want to go there anymore, you can always do a U-turn. I'm like, oh, I love that. I loved that. It just keeps in my brain, because I'm like, of course, like, we are in charge of our lives. We get to make the decisions. Sometimes, we get halfway into something and we're like, actually, this is not it. I'm going to choose something else instead. And it's important. The momentum piece is important too.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So tell me about the 21 minutes of morning magic that you do, so people can join, because I think it'd be great for everybody.
Absolutely. It's a free group, so you absolutely can join. So every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I land on the mat. In wintertime, I do it at 6:30 a.m. because sunrise has just started to get that touch earlier now. But, for the winter months here on the Gold Coast, at least, I know it's different in other parts of Australia and the world, but we have a sunrise around, 6:45, and it comes back a minute each day. And even that, just seeing sunrise is so wonderful.
So nice.
And there's so many benefits to that too, why I do it around that sunrise. So 6:30 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, I go live in the Facebook group. And then when summer comes, we shift it earlier to 6 a.m. And the whole idea is to see the sunlight, because as we know, sunlight on our eyes in the morning
Yeah.
Great way to set our hormones and also our little biorhythms, because
Yeah.
around 14 hours after sunrise, if our naked eye sees sunrise, 14 hours later, we have a hormone release that says it's time for bed.
Ooh,
So for
good.
anyone who has problems sleeping, it's a great way to get your biorhythms back in tune. And
Yeah.
as we know, sleep is such a wonderful blessing. So
Yeah.
seeing the sunlight in the morning first thing helps if anyone does have sleep. So that's why the morning. And then of course we do the 7 minutes of yoga. It's very gentle yoga. It's purely just so you don't start to fall asleep when we land on the mat. There's always a theme each day. So for instance, there's a theme for each month. So this month is holistic wellness. And there is a theme each day, and it's pretty much 21 minutes live. For people who do have a busy morning, though, you can always watch the replay later in the morning or later that night. Some of my ladies do that in the group. Lots of people do show up live, and it's back to that just committed and consistent, starting our day, not blowing out our nervous system.
Yes.
By checking our emails, our to-do list, just giving ourselves a little chance to slow down. And I often say it's a great way to tune your intuition or your voice of wisdom, particularly putting that pen to paper.
Yeah.
Just giving yourself a chance to tune into you. And like you said to Prue, if you are going on a path and you decide, you've packed up the truck, you're driving down the road and you decide you want a U-turn, sometimes it'll happen in that morning magic. You'll go, do you know what? I actually want to change my mind.
Yeah.
Because I think we've all got into a habit. We're all very connected digitally now, and everything is at our fingertips. We can binge watch anything in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
The lost little art of just sitting and not being distracted is a wonderful thing.
Oh,
And
it is.
and also studies have shown too around meditation, yoga, and journaling, it doesn't have to be for an hour.
No.
21 minutes, 7 minutes of each is plenty.
Yeah. Lovely. It is plenty. Yeah.
It's plenty. It's all you need.
That's all you need. I love that. And we can just, we can believe that. And if you believe it, it will be true.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then the benefits are, the lots of benefits that I hear people say that, their day, they feel more present, they're more aligned through their day. They've given themselves a little chance to not nervous system mostly, not to be, kind of
like wired all the time. Yeah,
exactly. Just a little chance to stop and take stock. And also you feel like you've just started your day in a wholesome way. It's like having a good breakfast.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I love, like last week I was out of routine because I was I'm in a mastermind that's out of the US. So I was getting up for 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. call for 5 days.
That's committed and consistent, Prue.
Yeah. But I will admit I didn't get up for the last 2 days. I was like, no, I can't do that. And I didn't know earlier on you could just really watch the replays unless you really want to be coached directly and put your hand up. Anyway, it is ongoing for the next 6 months, twice weekly commitment, in the morning. So I will be committed and consistent over the next 6 months. But out of routine last week, and the old me would beat myself up if I wasn't going to the gym, if I said I was going to go to the gym. And the new me, which is very compassionate and understanding and realizes that we can't fit everything in. Actually, in my journal, when I was walking through what my week was going to look like, it's like, you know what? I'm not going to wake up at 1, stay up till 3, then struggle to get back to sleep, which happened, and then get up again at 6 and keep going to the gym. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go to the gym this week. And geez, I missed it though. I really missed it. Like on Monday morning when I went back to the gym, I was like, oh, this is good because I'm up at early before 6. And so I am, seeing the sunrise. And you feel so much more tired on the other end of the day when you do something like that, and you sleep so much better, because last week I was just having terrible sleeps, all out of routine, and wasn't getting up early, was sleeping in a little bit longer, and just out of whack. So you have to understand, when it is time to be consistent and committed as well, and when it's not, like when you're allowed to do something different, if things are happening in your life that are different, like circumstances are different. But so many people beat themselves up for not continuing and not, continuing life as it exactly should be, or, what they think it should be, when things are different in their circumstances.
Yeah,
And
there's
so
always got to be a
some-
grey area, doesn't there? There's
yeah,
got to be a little bit of lenience. And as
yeah,
long as I guess it's for, like in your situation, it was to do a mastermind. It wasn't that you just blew off the gym. You actually
right.
had another
Yeah,
priority that you
yes,
popped in there for that week. So I think it's good to get curious about you're not just blowing it off because you just was too tired and you hit snooze
yeah,
again,
yeah.
that it actually was because of a reason. Because there is a time where you actually have to push through
Oh, you do, yes,
and give
yeah,
yourself a firm talking to.
yeah, exactly. No, you
Very
do. There's definitely times for that, always.
Yeah.
So what's the things that you're working on this year? I'm curious to know.
Yes. So my 3 things. So like I said, so I've got until September. I set my
Yeah.
3 goals until September.
Yeah.
So one is, as you know, I'm renovating the house at the
Oh, that's
moment.
right. Mhm.
So I've got a builder, but the idea around that goal is to grow our wealth. So
Mhm.
putting as much energy, time, and research to do a wonderful renovation and lead this wonderful renovation, because in terms of our future, it's wealth creation into this house.
Mhm.
So that's been the one. It'll end September. That's been my goal till September. The other one has been to walk 10,000 steps plus a day.
Oh,
Yes, movement
incredible.
is wonderful, but the
Yeah.
other thing that I love about my walk every day, and because I just explained to Prue, while we're renovating the house, I'm living in our apartment in Coolangatta, the southern end of the Gold Coast. When another evidence-based study has come out about walking and our solution brain turning on when we walk and we look out into the yonder.
Oh,
So when you look, when your eyes start to scan further than just in front of you, a little part of our brain flicks on that helps us problem solve or find a solution.
mm.
So that backs in to my
Mhm.
third goal, which is and before we spoke today, I've been doing some recording. I am building an e-course called Body Love Bootcamp.
Ooh, nice.
Yes, ditching
Yeah.
diet culture and embracing confidence. So I'm in the process right now of writing module, filming.
Mhm.
So that deadline is September.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is where I need to be committed and consistent, Prue, because I've put the deadline for September,
Yeah.
and that is when Body Love Bootcamp will be out. So they're my 3 goals.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing.
10,000
September.
steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10,000 steps a day, renovate this
Yeah.
house for wealth creation and a beautiful home,
Yeah.
and have this course completely written and filmed.
Nice.
That's
Very
my 3
nice.
goals.
How are you going with the 10,000 steps? What's your stats on that? Do you like percentages and things like that?
I don't. I just make sure I hit my 10,000. I try not to get too rigid around it.
Yeah.
But what I do know is 10,000 steps for me. And to
Yeah.
be honest, most days I'll do around 15, 12 to 15.
Okay, that's incredible. Yeah.
Yes, I have a very, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
Well,
And
that's the
because I'm by
key.
I'm by the ocean. It's
Yeah.
my thinking time. I also have another little strategy that I do. I love to listen to audiobooks.
Mhm.
So I have a halfway point of my walk.
Yeah.
Walking there, I do not listen to one thing.
Oh,
I just look
good
out
idea.
to the yonder.
Yeah.
Coming home, I listen.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. That's
And
good.
that feels really aligned and really wholesome. And then back to that sleep,
Yeah.
sunlight, exercise, fresh air, great sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. All the little magic elements.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
which I know really supports me to do all the things that I need to do.
Yes.
I feel balanced, and that's mine. Everyone has a different
Yeah.
idea, but that feels really good for me.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. I've also started the year off with wanting to walk more. I didn't actually put in number of steps. 10,000 does get thrown around a lot though. And yeah, and then it sort of fell off in about, just trying to think, maybe April or something. And then I revised it, and then it's to the gym now, and I've like, okay, revise it. Let's see what else, I can do. Envious of the Coolangatta location, so you can go for a walk along the beach. We've got a beautiful walking track around here. It's definitely not the beach.
Yeah. I do still have an accountability piece with the 10,000 steps. I have a dog.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
that, tying it, I look at my beautiful banjo and he's like, come on, mum, let's walk.
Yeah.
So that is the accountability piece because I cannot let him down. And because we're in an apartment now, he's only a little guy, he's a little noodle. See, at home, we have a doggy door at the house, but because we're in the apartment, so it's tied in with the accountability piece too.
That's good. Yeah. Banjo, the accountability partner.
Yes.
Good on you, Banjo.
I know, works great.
It does. Actually, just speaking of dogs, I've got an old dog called Coco. She's an old German Collie. She'd be 14. She's the same age as my youngest. And yeah, she's always just busting to go for a walk. But just recently we've noticed she's like, nah, maybe I don't want to go. And I'm like, oh no, because she's a bit out of accountability as well, actually.
Yes.
You look at them, you think, yeah, I've got to get them out for a walk. But yeah, now she's starting to slow down a bit. She's like, I don't know if I really want to go for a walk, a bit sore today, I'm like, I feel you, love, feel you.
Yes. But so Coco's letting the team down.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Frankie. She's the one pulling us along still. She's a little toy poodle. But yeah, she keeps us going as well. But yeah, interesting. It's good to have these accountability partners. And which I notice, I do like accountability. I feel like I'm pretty good at keeping myself accountable on one level. And not every level though. So in business, that's why I've joined this mastermind, because I'm like, okay, I need to be accountable in business and show up and do all these things. And I have my 3 things that I'm working on in those business container as well. But on a day-to-day basis, I'm pretty great. Like I'm actually really have surprised myself at how good I am at keeping myself accountable for things. And I also know like the flexibility, like women, we are not like, I'm a more feminine energy, like 100%. And so we can't go through life in that masculine energy, like that real dominated logical sequence, like just the same thing day in, day out. So I'm aware of that. So I look at my schedule every week and think, okay, what's going on this week, and very intuitive with what's going on, and like move things around when I know it's just not possible or how I'm feeling. So it is like learning about that, because there has been times in my life where I failed at scheduling because I'm so rigid with, that real masculine energy. And it's like, oh no, we've really got to step into that feminine energy and just flow with it rather than like fighting against it. And that works for me as well.
Yeah, I agree. I love to build in each week a coffee catch up with one of my friends. Like that's that feminine energy, that connection. And I know exactly what you mean. We cannot be in that masculine where it's, you run to this diary hard and fast, because we are intuitive and we do have different wants and needs at time, and connection, I feel, is a beautiful thing to prioritize. Whether it be family, friends, or whatever it is. But I will often take a walk. So with my 10,000 steps, if it's not banjo, I'll do a walk with a girlfriend and then a coffee or breakfast.
Nice. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, those sorts of things are beautiful to do, for sure. Like we're getting close to the end. We need to wrap up soon, but I just want to quickly ask you a question about your Indian, like you go to India for trips. Like that is incredible. Like what drew you to India for your trips?
Yes, I went to India in 2016 myself and attended a retreat. And it's funny, those things that you just feel in your soul. And I remember I was in a location, at this beautiful location. I remember saying to myself, I am going to bring women back here and run retreats. And I was already a coach then. So I was doing some coaching. I was teaching long-term unemployed people then, and then evolved into running women's, online coaching and circles, and a program that I run, and all of the things, and then the yoga studio. And I thought, I am definitely going to run a retreat in India. And as we know, COVID happened. And during that time, a lot of things went online, which was fabulous. So that was great for my coaching business. And I ran retreats in Byron Bay, which was very safe over those couple of years when we're a little bit like, is it going to get cancelled or not? But then I said, that's it. We're going to go to India. So this year in March, so this year, March, reverse up 10 months, 11 months was when I launched that India trip. And we do the golden circle. So with yoga, I have a love of yoga and the philosophy of yoga. So India, as we know, It's the birthplace of yoga. So we do and when I say we, I co-host with a dear friend, Yogi Louis. So we do the Golden Triangle in India, which is Rishikesh, is the top of the Himalayas. The bottom of the Himalayas in India. So the Mother Ganges, the beautiful river, comes through there. And Rishikesh, they say, is where yoga was born. So it is a meat-free, alcohol-free state. And it's actually where the Beatles used to go. That's where their guru was in the 60s, which is just...
Beatles guru was there.
Yes, their guru was there. And we actually visited the ashram that they were at is dilapidated now, but we went where the Beatles stayed with their guru. Absolutely phenomenal. The architecture was just beautiful. It was almost like stepping into Raiders of the Lost Ark, like the architecture. And there was marijuana growing everywhere. Like you can't eat meat in the state or drink alcohol, but there's marijuana growing everywhere.
Marijuana everywhere.
Yeah, it was funny. So we do Rishikesh, which is just a phenomenal place. The energy and the vibe there is just divine. And then we do Agra, which is the Taj Mahal. You can't go to India and not do Taj Mahal.
Absolutely not.
Which is every bit impressive. It really is. I liken it to...
we reference it so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it absolutely is one of the wonders of the world because it has as much impact as Rock or Uluru, we should say now. I call it Rock because when I was a kid, it was Rock.
We're 48.
Uluru.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
What we say. At Great Barrier Reef, it has that impact. And then the other place we do, which I love, known as the Pink City, Jaipur, where all the block printing is done. And that place from a visual perspective is breathtaking. It's where the palaces were. So just phenomenal. So then we got back from India this year. And of course I had a wait list. So I'm taking 15 women again in March.
Oh, nice.
Go again, which is wonderful. And then while I'm there, I've done the south of India as well. So I'm doing exact same trip again, the Golden Triangle, because it is pretty impressive. The south of India, while I'm there, my husband's going to come over and meet me, and we're going to do the south of India. Even though I have done the south of India in 2016, Kerala and Cochin is the bottom. So my vision is, Prue, to run 2 retreats a year to India. What I love about India is it is a place that you could travel there by yourself. It is pretty, navigating India. It's safe. Yes, it's safe. However, you certainly, and you dot your I's and cross your T's. You just do. Whereas the group, I have an incredible tour guide. We've got the same guy with us. We have our own bus. I've got everything organized. I've done all the legwork. Everyone is safe and well.
That sounds like the way that I would go to India, because India is not something that I would go, you know what, I'm going to go there as a travel destination, but doing something like that would be incredible.
And we do personal development workshops, yoga, and also that connection of women, this absolute camaraderie and joyfulness that happens when women come together. Because I've resigned to the fact now at this beautiful age of 48, every year I have a holiday just myself with my, do some sort of retreat. I have a holiday with my husband, or maybe 2 if we can. And then a holiday when the kids are included, at this stage and age of life. Because I'm a beautiful, lucky, privileged woman living in a wonderful country where that is, because I can. So that's,
And so why not?
Exactly. And India is just such a fascinating place. And I do find, Prue, it's one of those places, it's either a hell yes or it's a no. There is nothing in between. You're either drawn to it or you're not. Because plenty of people go, I couldn't think of anything worse. But those who come, and everyone has if that's your jib, it's
I had another guest on the podcast. She was from Texas.
Yes.
And she takes people to the is it the Smoky? No, the Rockies. The Rockies.
Oh, yeah.
And she also goes to Costa Rica. And the Costa Rica trip, I was like, oh, that'd be great. Like, I had a real pull towards that one. And I was like, interesting. So anyway, just clocking it. For future reference. There is. Exactly. Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Prue. Just wonderful.
So parting words for my listeners, what would you like to tell them?
Stay committed and consistent.
Yeah, that's it. That's the way forward.
Yeah. And only, I don't know, I mean, maybe only have 3 goals. Don't overcomplicate it. It's okay to change your mind.
Yeah.
And, you know, for our beautiful women who perhaps have struggled around their body image, know that it's not you. You are a normal woman.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
perfectly
Hear it.
imperfect.
Hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. I love it. Thank you very much. And
Thanks,
yeah,
Prue.
I'm sure I'll connect with you again soon.
We will. Thanks.
Thank you.